In this video, we're going to learn about the basics of using Scratch, and we're going to assume that you already have version 1.4 on your computer. When you open up Scratch, the first thing that you can see is you have this little cat character here. And this cat here is what we call a sprite. Okay, you can see here there's the list of sprites typically. So if we click on this sprite, what you get here is a second window. And this second window contains information about the scripts, and that's really just the things that that cat is going to do. Okay, that's where we're going to program the sprite. We're going to be putting some information here, and that's going to be the things that the cat does. We have costumes just to say what the cat should look like, and different sounds that the cat can make. Alright, back to this scripts window. Well, how do we tell the cat what to do? Well, we're going to send it commands. Okay, and this is very similar to the military world, right? Where you send a command to someone and then that person should execute that command. So let's go ahead and give some commands to our cat. So you can see we can click on these different tabs up here. There's motion, looks, sound, pen. Those are the ones that we'll be exploring today. And let's just get started with motion, okay? So here's one command, and this command says move 10 steps. You can double click on that, and then that's going to run that command, and you can see the output in this area. This is what we call the stage in Scratch, and this is the place where we can see what happens when we launch or when we run our programs. Let's try that again. There you go. You can see it's a rather small step, so I'm going to increase the step size and say move 15 steps. There you go. Now it's a little bit more visible. What else can we do? Well, our sprite here can say hello. So if I double click that, you can see the hello symbol pop up. We can have it play some sounds. So for example, here I want to play the sound meow. Alright, there we go. And you can do things like put a pen down. Okay, and put a pen down really just means have that cat put a pen down on the stage. So I'm going to click pen down, nothing happens, but now if I move 50 steps, you can see there's a little line following our sprite. There we go. There's our line. So these are all individual commands, and they're kind of free-floating, but really what a script is a sequence of commands. And so we can give some sequence to them by snapping them together. So now what we've got here is one script that has different commands. And by the way, these little pieces, these things that we drag and drop are called blocks. Okay, these are blocks of code. Anyhow, we have a sequence here, sequence of blocks. And now if I click, what's going to happen is it's going to move 50 steps, the cat is going to say hello, it's going to play the sound meow, and then it's going to put its pen down. And you know what, let's start by putting the pen down before we even start moving. So let's give that a try. Okay, so now you can see we're running that sequence of commands when we double click here. Now you notice that I sort of told you that it's important to put this pen down at the very beginning, and there's a reason for that. The order here is actually really important. So for example, let's say I invert this a little bit, okay? So let's say I put the pen up first. Oops, there we go. I put the pen up, and then I put the pen down. So that would mean I start this script by lifting the pen, and then I move, and then I say hello, I play meow, and then I put the pen down. Well, what do you think is going to happen? Are we going to write? Let's double click. You can see we're not writing anything anymore because we've put the pen up first, done all those things, and then put the pen down. And so you really have to be mindful of order. Really what we should have done is start by putting the pen down, do our motions, and then bring the pen up. So let's give that a try. Oops, there we go, double click. And you can see that we're writing as we had intended to. Alright, so that's all nice and dandy. Something else that's important is very often we don't like this idea of double clicking to run code. We like things that are very clean, and so one way to make your code clean is to tell it how it should start all the time. And so this is done with these curvy blocks, okay, these curvy top blocks. And this one, for example, is called when green flag clicked, okay? And you can attach your scripts to this curvy top block and then press the green flag here, and that's going to run the script that's attached to it. Now notice, if I run the program and the cat is over here, it's going to end up here. If I run it from here, it's going to end up here. And so really, our cat is doing something that's a little bit different every time we run the program. And typically we don't like that in the computer world. We like things to be very predictable. And so something that we can do to make it more predictable is to tell the cat where it should be at the very beginning of the program. And there's ways you can do that. So the first thing to notice is that if you look at my mouse on this stage, when it moves around, it updates these XY positions. And so that tells you sort of the XY positions in the stage. So this position right here would be probably around 0, 0. So x equals 0 and y equals 0. So why don't we put the cat there at the very beginning of the script? And you can do that with the motions, and you can set x to 0. You can set y to 0. And if I click the green flag, it's just going to put the cat in the middle, because that's the only piece of the script that I'm running. And we also don't like all these lines that are sort of hanging out, and so we can go to the pen and decide to clear the area before we do anything else. So if I run the green flag now, we stay in the middle, and we've removed all these pen marks. And then we can go ahead and snap our program to that. And by the way, these first steps, that's what we call initialization, because we're initializing all the important parts of the program so that the rest of the program or the rest of the script is predictable. So now if I press the green flag, we get the meow, we get the line, we get the hello, it goes in a straight line. And if I do it again, I end up exactly in the same position. And that's because I keep putting the cat in the middle before doing everything else. And so this script is very nicely initialized. So that's it for our very first crash course in Scratch.